Okay, we're recording. Yay. All right. I am so excited to get to hang out with you guys. This is an incredible group of people right here. And, I could cry.
Excited.
We're excited to be with you guys tonight. So, all right. For those of you guys that we haven't met, because there are a few of you that have just came in, maybe you live out of state, out of area, and we haven't actually gotten to meet you yet. Like, so many of you, this team is like exploding. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Mike's looking through all the names
Scrolling
right
through
now.
to see all the faces. I just saw Casey. I miss you. I can't believe you're gone.
Yeah, but okay, so if we haven't met yet, you guys, my name's Ashley Woolmer, and this is my husband, Mike, and we are part of some of your upline team, and we really just want to start focusing on leadership. Everybody wins when a leader gets better, right? And so we're going to start doing these about once a month. And it's going to change. It's going to evolve. There's going to be more people. We'll do more just as directors, as all of you guys are promoting to directors, and just be able to pour into you guys as leaders. And part of launching this company that's been so exciting is knowing that we're here from the very beginning, but we're just now kind of getting caught up of going, okay, we had the director summit last weekend with Stephanie, and we're like, all right, it's time to start stepping up our leadership game. We've kind of got our hands figured out in the back office. We've got people starting to get going. We've got our hands on how to get people launched. Now we need to start pouring into our leaders.
It's time for all of us to pull on the leader pants.
The leader pants.
Yep.
All right, honey, well, take it away.
Take it away. So I was going to start off with, in order to give your team the energy that you need to be grateful for them. And so I was watching an interview with Brene Brown a little while ago, and I'm probably going to slaughter this story, but the gist of it, she was interviewing pastors who lead and serve others, and there was this husband-wife pastor couple, and they had Brene had them write down a list of, the name was somebody who drove them nuts, basically is what it was. And I'm slaughtering the story, but they both wrote down the exact same person. And this person, it turned out to be a person who was down and out, who really needed the church, who really needed their leadership. They needed to be poured into. And the husband and wife pastor, when that name was revealed, they both felt ashamed. And they realized that they weren't grateful for that person. They honestly disliked being around that person. And because of the way they felt about that person, they weren't able to lead that person and give them the energy that they needed to have a better life. And it's like that in this business. It can be frustrating. If you want to know why your team's not working or not doing this or that, it's easy to get frustrated about that. But honestly, guys, it starts with being grateful about what you have and the teammates that you have in this. And all of you guys that are on this call, you are huge bricks in the foundation of this exploding company, this exploding team, this craziness. But not just that, all your people are bricks. And even more than that, like all the no's that our entire team has gotten from this, like I am so excited. I am so thankful for them because it took the no's to get to the yes. And all those no's are also part of the foundation. Like I am so grateful for all those no's. And I know that they're not just no, they're no for now. They're conversation starters, right? So if I'm excited for no's, I am over the moon excited for the people that actually said yes to this. So I am grateful for every single one of these people. And for us, like we all need to love our team and love our people and appreciate the fact that they said yes to this. And it's on us to pour into them and help move this forward.
Yes. All right. So one thing that you were talking to me about earlier is just wanting to communicate with them, like how special each and every one of them are. That you guys, you're on this call. You are a leader. You might not have ever had a title of leader before. You might not even look at yourself as a leader, but you are. Okay? You are. You have people on your team that are looking up to you, that just want to be just like you, that want to have the story that you have. And we are so excited to just celebrate that and develop you guys here tonight. So First of all, thank you for taking time out. I know some of you just heard that you got invited to this call. Other of you got invited last night. Some of you guys just found out about this morning, but guess what? You showed up. And for those of you watching the Zoom that had prior commitments, I'm proud of you guys too, because you're watching this and taking your leadership seriously.
Yeah, I want to know that all of you make a difference. And one of our greatest regrets is we just don't have enough time to be able to spend with everybody. But watching all of you, even from afar in different states, like we see you, we see the positivity that you're sharing, we see the things that you're doing with your team. Like what you do makes a difference. So continue to be positive, continue to share, and continue to grow. It does matter.
Yeah, you guys are all a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Big deal. Okay, so because you're all such a big deal, I created something today on a Google form that the second that somebody on Team Ignite goes 1 star, they are going to fill out this Google form just asking or answering a couple questions like your name, what if you have a day job, tell me a little bit about yourself, a couple of questions, because we want to recognize you. All right. So we're going to take that. We're going to take your answers. I'm going to write up your story. All right. So I'm going to grab a picture of you. I'm going to make an image that you can share on social media, that our team can share on social media. A big part of this, you guys, is stories. I've always said that success is an identity process. And once you identify with somebody having success, you believe that you can. Okay. And so sharing stories is so huge. And so we want to start doing that huge on this team at 1 star. So once you go 1 star or anybody on your team goes 1 star, they get to fill out this form, answering these questions about themselves. I'm going to write up their story for them. I'm going to make them an image for social media that they can post, that their teams can post, and that we can just give them that recognition that they deserve, because 1 star executive really is the building blocks to this entire company. And once you can go 1 star, you can teach 1 star and duplicate that, and you can go all the way to the top to be presidential ambassador with this company by 1 star. So we want to make sure that we're spending a huge amount of time recognizing those people and sharing those stories, because it's going to build belief. If your team sees you do it, they're going to believe that they can do that. Okay. So I'm going to, as soon as the next time that Mike talks, I'll put that link in the chat, and I'll make sure that all of you guys get that link. We'll post it on the team page. So that way, anytime somebody goes 1 star, they can have that recognition and answer those few basic questions. So, all right, now we're going to transition into some basic things that leaders need to do and know when you have a team. Okay. If you guys don't have a piece of paper and a pen, you're going to want to go run to the other room and grab one real quick and take some notes. Oh my gosh, I love it. Somebody actually just ran. I love it. Okay, so these are things, you guys, you're on this Zoom because you have a team. You have people underneath you, or you are identified as somebody that we see as huge leadership qualities and capabilities. So we want to pour into you, but these are things you need to know or do when you have a team. All right, so Mike.
All right, so we are going to talk belief, and guys, belief is the building block of this business. This is what it all comes down to. And we have to pour belief into our teams, but first we have to have that belief for ourselves. And so this is one of the things that we haven't had enough time to just really talk about the importance of and dive into. And so for all of you guys, you're all here. And I know that you can hit whatever your goal. It's a fact that you can hit whatever your goal in this is. And so just as an example, it's a big example, but it's one that makes more sense to my point. If you believe you're going to make $100,000 in a year in this business, you absolutely will. Because if you believe you will, you are going to go out there and you're going to share this with confidence. You're going to share this with excitement. You're going to talk to as many people as you can, and you're not going to slow down from the negativity because you know where you're going. You're excited. You're going to hit that goal. You're going to make $100,000. Do you care if some friend who is down and out themselves and doesn't have anything going on in their life says no to you? No. Like, why am I going to listen to them? They're not going places. I am. And here's the thing. When you believe you're going to make $100,000 in this business, people will follow you because they believe you're going where you think you're going. And so because you believe you're going to hit that, people that join you are going to hit their goals because they believe you're going to hit yours. And so the most important part of this is just believing. As long as you believe and keep your belief and stay in activity, there's nothing that can stop you in this business. So where that leads me to is belief transfer. And just us as leaders and the responsibility we have to transfer belief into our team. And where this first hit home for me, when we joined our first network marketing company, in 2 months, we promoted to a level that was like $7,000 a month already. Like, we just came out crazy. And we're at this event, this large training with 2,000 people. And there's this girl sitting in front of us while we were watching people speak on stage. And this is this girl that everybody on the outside would have looked up to her, thought she was like popular, pretty girl and successful. And the thing that I was watching, and I was like, gosh, I hope this person gets this, because she really needed this in her life. She was a single mom. She was really just struggling. And I was like, I knew what this could do for her, but she didn't know it for herself. And it was in that moment that I had my huge first aha, that us as leaders, it is our responsibility to pour that belief into our people. And so ever since that time, that's been my main mission, is to transfer belief into other people, to let them know that more is possible. For us, like, we've built an IT company that was successful. We built a successful network marketing organization already. We know that people can make money. We're just normal people. Like, we know that anybody can do this, and there is no limit that we don't put on ourselves. And for us, people like Matthew, Aspen, Eileen, people have made money. They know that more is possible. And money is not our driving goal. It's not the owners of this company's driving goal. What they really want is for people to know and believe that more is possible for them. And so that is really the thing that drives us. And that is the thing as leaders that we have to pour into our teams.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Did you get all that? Let me see if there's anything else that you're going to talk about.
Yeah, I was going to add to this. A lot of times you might look at your team and go, gosh, why aren't they doing this? Or why aren't they doing that? Why don't they do what I do? And here's the truth. Tony Robbins said, people will do something if they believe it will yield the result they're looking for. So most people, when they sign up for this, they hope it's going to work. They don't know if they believe that it will. But if people believe they're going to make $1,000 a month, $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month by doing steps 1, 2, and 3 that we coach them to do, they would absolutely do it. Mm-hmm. The reason that more people aren't doing it, because they don't know if they can do it. They don't believe that they can do it. But if they believe doing the things we tell them to will get them the results they will absolutely do it.
So that's why that transfer of belief, you guys, is so powerful. You yourselves have to know what your goal is, know where you're going, be grateful for where you are, but know where you're going, but then be loud about talking about your goals and believing and pouring that into other people. And you can do that from day one. The second that you guys enroll a brand ambassador, you guys, you're going executive. On our team, everybody goes executives. It's so easy. I'm going to help you do it, but like, it's happening. In 7 days from now, you're going to be executive. In fact, I'm going to make you a little image that says, congratulations, you're executive, because I believe so much in you that you're going to hit it, that let's just celebrate it right now. It's done. It's over. It's completed, right? So now you transfer that belief into them. Guess what they're going to go do? They're going to go executive. And I bet you they'll go faster than 7 days. Because you've just poured massive amounts of belief into them. You're transferring that over to them, and that makes them act. Okay. So, all right, we're going to get back to some fun, fluffy stuff later. Mike's got all the fun stuff to talk about. All right, let's talk a little bit about back office. Okay. So you guys as leaders need to have a basic understanding of the back office. Okay, so that you can help answer questions as your team comes to you. How do I move somebody? What leg do I move them on? What's lesser leg? How does my rolling volume, so if you guys don't have that basic knowledge yourself, let's schedule a time, okay, with either me, Nikki, Steph, to go over some of this stuff so you guys feel competent in that, because it is huge as a leader to get to know that. So, okay, couple of things that I do. So I'm not going to preach it, you guys, is what you should do. I'm going to tell you what I do, all right? So every single Friday morning after the close of the week, I log in and I see in my organization, and I do this in Graphical Tree Viewer, okay, who is still at an SBA, a Senior Brand Ambassador, that has not promoted to executive yet. All right. I get a little sheet out that says executive, running to executive at the very top of it, and I write all of their names down. Okay, because my goal now when I wake up on Friday is to take the people from brand ambassador, senior brand ambassador to executive. And we want to talk to them about that goal. Okay, then every Friday, the second thing that I do is I look at all of the people that are inactive, that are red in your Graphical Tree Viewer. Okay, that's where I do it. And you're going to reach out to them and game plan with them about how they're going to get themselves active this week. Now, that conversation, you always want to make sure it's about them, okay? Not about you. It's about them. Hey, Greg, I saw today that you were inactive. I want to make sure as a leader that you're getting paid, that you said yes to this. So let's game plan. Do you want to place an order? Have you been waiting to get your hands on these products? Or are you wanting to go get a couple customers and get those testimonials going for your business? Which is that better option for you? If they say customers, you guys, chances are they just don't have the funds yet, and that's okay. Maybe they just enrolled and invested $4.99 into this business. We should be helping them get a couple customers. So then that conversation is, all right, let's get you a couple customers. Here's a really good message that I would send out. And I give them that message. And if you guys need that as leaders, reach out to me and I'll give you what I send, okay? So helping them, each and every person in your organization that's red, that's in active game plan about how they're going to get active. Now, if you have a big organization, this starts with your personally enrolled. Okay, this is where layered leadership comes in. We're going to talk about that later. But when you layer leadership, when you do something and teach your team to do something like I'm doing with you guys right now, if I tell you every Friday I start with my personally enrolled, guess what then you guys are going to start doing? You're going to do the same thing. You're going to start with your personally enrolled people that are inactive, reach out to them, game plan to get them active. A huge reason why you want to do this. Not only are they missing out on a paycheck, but if any volume comes in Friday, Saturday, say they plan to get active on Sunday, they're missing out on all of that lesser leg volume, okay? This happened last week to somebody who rolled into Friday morning inactive, signed a brand ambassador at $199 or $499, so would have had a $50 or $100 paycheck coming, and didn't activate until later Friday night. She's going to miss out on that volume from earlier that day because she rolled into Friday morning inactive, okay? So as leaders, yes, it's their responsibility to know that. There's going to be trackers coming in our back office to help with that. But as a leader, just real quick, Friday morning when you wake up, just look through there, reach out to those people, okay? Then every Wednesday, I check 2 reports, okay, to see who's close to promoting. And then I reach out to those people to offer support, maybe see if I can help them close anybody out. Okay, so how you do that is you can either look in Graphical Tree Viewer. So what I do first is I go to Graphical Tree Viewer and I change the structure type to sponsorship. So what that does is it shows you that person, all their personally enrolled. So say if Michelle is here and I'm looking to see how close she is to going 1 star, and I see her 4 personally enrolled here, and then one of her 4 has 2, and then I can kind of look at her numbers and be able to reach out to her and give her a game plan. One thing that you guys want to do is never expect your team to know anything, okay? I don't expect you guys to know anything, so we're teaching you right now, all right? And if there's something that you don't know tonight when we have a conversation about it, later, that's okay. I'll teach it to you again, okay? Don't expect them to do for themselves what you know how to do for yourself. That is the one mistake that leaders make all the time, okay? So by teaching them, by digging in, by showing them, honestly, sometimes by giving it to them. Sometimes you got to do the work for them to see it. Everybody learns differently, you guys. Some people, it takes them a couple of times. Some people need to see it. Some people need to be told. It's just different. You as a leader, you're going to rise above and you're just going to do whatever it takes, right? Okay, so those are the few things that I do in the back office every single day. All right, let's move on to some team stuff, okay? So as a leader, if you guys haven't already, you should have started a chat on Facebook, or maybe it's a text group, however your team wants to communicate with all of your personally enrolled, all right? So every single one of your personally enrolled, whether it's 2, whether it's 10, whether it's 50, have a place that you can go to communicate with those people. Because why? Layered leadership. All right, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. The other thing that you guys can start doing as leaders for your team, okay, here's one thing. Your team needs to see you guys as leaders, right? We kind of already talked about that in the very beginning by transferring belief. They signed up with you. They already see you as a leader. One huge way for them to just be like, oh my gosh, that's my leader. That's Janice. She's awesome. She's amazing. I just love her, is by posting on our team page, by being interactive, by posting tips. When something's working for you, share the wealth, okay? Go on Ignite, go live in the team page and say, you guys, this is what just happened to me today. Isn't this incredible? The best way to lead is to show people what you're doing, because you're leading from the front, and they might pick up on tips and tricks from that and be able to learn from that. So by posting in Ignite, going live in Ignite, being loud about what you guys are doing, it's allowing your downline that transfer of belief right there. They're believing through you that they can do it because they see you doing it by being loud and participating.
Every single day, we should be looking for all the wins and all the positive messages that we can celebrate and share with the team page. And the more that you do that, the more your team is going to look up to you and be inspired by you as a leader.
Yep. So the other thing too, you guys, is being on calls. Like, that's non-negotiable. Obviously, we all have things that come up, but there's been a few times where, like, I've actually been at dinner with my parents or something, but I get on the Zoom and I say, Ashley from Michigan, and I'm kind of listening, half listening, but guess what? You guys didn't know, right? Because you saw my name, you saw me in the chat. So make it a point to be visible to your teams, to do what you're asking them to do, hosting events. I know here in Michigan and Nebraska and some of the other states, you guys have the privilege of plugging into where some of your leaders already live, but I'm just gonna encourage you, host your own. We'll come. We'll help you do it, but host your own for your team to see you doing that. Why? Because again, that transfer of belief, right? Couple of other things about your team, you guys, is introduce your team to uplines at events. It makes them feel so special and a part of something. Like when you're at an event, okay, last night, Aspen was just in Nebraska. Aspen's not the only upline in the room. Aspen's our CEO. Yeah, you want your team to meet her, but Stephanie is there. All right. Janice is there. Lisa Johnson's there. Carlotta's there. All right. Jenny Amen was there. There were so many leaders in that room, and your team wants to meet them. They want to feel a part of it. So introduce them to all of them, because it's just going to make them feel special. Okay. So that's one huge thing. And also, don't assume. This is a mistake I made in my previous company. I enrolled with a leader that had tons of people on her team, and I had introduced her to somebody weeks before that. And we went to the next event, and I assumed that she remembered her. And she didn't. And then this girl felt terrible. She's like, she did not remember me. She didn't know I met her before, because she introduced herself. She was like, hi, I'm, and the girl's like, you've already met me, right? So in situations like that, like with Aspen, Matthew, Eileen, corporate people, like always say, oh, hey, Aspen, do you remember so-and-so? You met them a couple weeks ago. As the leader, do that so that you're not making your person feel like poop, right? So that they feel special and important. Okay. When somebody new joins your team, and you guys, the way that you can do this, and again, this is something I do every morning, you do it every 2 days, every week, whatever works for you, is log in, go to Tabular, okay? At the very bottom of the screen, it shows you, it says 1 of 50 out of 1,000, right? That 1,000 number, pay attention to that, because that's how many people you have on your team. If that number goes up by 5, 10, 2, you know someone's enrolled since the last time you've looked. If you go over to the tab that says enrollment date and click on it, it will not alphabetically because it's numeric, but it will put it in order, and you can see who just enrolled on your team yesterday, 2 days ago, this past week. Reach out to them, okay? Say, hey, welcome to the team. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name's Michelle, all right? So introduce yourself to those people. Then look to see who enrolled them and go give them a little shout out. Even if it's just a text message, to be like, hey, I just saw that you enrolled somebody. Good job. Okay. People need that little bit of recognition. All right, let's see. Okay, one more thing, and then I'm going to pass it back over to Mike. So one huge thing, you guys, we would have never gotten to where we've been in this industry, making the kind of money that we've made, if we didn't follow this next thing I'm going to tell you. It is literally the key to everything in my business. Don't just stop at your personally enrolled. Okay. There are people under and deep down into the depths that are starving for leadership. All right. And if you don't go deep, dig in, and build relationships with those people, you guys, The cream rises to the top. The cream always rises to the top. Maybe your personally enrolled person doesn't ever do anything else but enroll one person. And that person is your rock star. That person is your 3-star director to get you to go vice president. Okay. But if you don't build that relationship with that person and it just stops at your personally enrolled, you're doing them.
Where did you stop?
Ooh. Let me you all. Okay, so you're doing them a disservice and you're doing your own business a disservice if you don't dig in there and really start building relationships, mentoring those people, because it may not be your personally enrolled person that is the one that rises to the top. All right. Okay, Mike, you want to go on about talking about if you haven't heard from somebody in a week?
Yeah, but please feel free to jump in.
Okay.
I stole half your topic. So one of the things about network marketing, one of the things that we knew about it going into it is most people just quit, guys. In this industry, only 5% will join and do this on their own. And so,
wait, not just 5% will do it on their own. 5% will exceed you. 5% will go above you. Don't we pray for those people? Okay.
So 5% will do this with or without you. 15% will quit instantly. You'll never hear from them ever again. And then there's the other 80%. And those other 80% are the people that we can influence into doing more. And so when we talk about our team, they won't do anything they don't see us doing. And I always assume, like, if I don't see somebody's face for a week, like, I assume they're quitting in front of us. That's for us to pour into our team to make sure they know about the calls that week, to know what's going on every single week. You want to jump in?
Yeah. So his whole, like what he just said, if you don't hear from somebody in a week, just have the expectation that they're going to quit, because if you live by that, it's going to force you to really pour into those people, and just over communicate is always a good thing. Right. And as Mike was talking about, like that 5, 15, 80% of people, 5% of people are going to join your business and literally go right over you. They're just going to go. You don't have to do anything. They're just amazing. 15% of people, no matter what you do, no matter how much you pour into them, how much you drag them along, they're going to quit regardless. It's 80% of people that it does matter, you guys. It does matter that you're reaching out to them. It does matter that you're investing in them, that you're reminding them to come to the weekly event, that you're telling them that you care about them, okay? The 80% of people you have influence over. You can influence them. You can motivate them. You can inspire them. So always remember that. Don't get hung up on the 15% that don't get it, because you've got 80% to go work with. One thing you were going to talk about is look at your team as investors.
Right. So they're not our employees. You guys are not our employees. And I don't even see looking at your team as just business partners is the right way to look at it. I think you need to look at your team as investors. And that 80%, they're going to invest in you and in themselves and their time and efforts as much as you convince them to give. And so that's where it's on us to continue to pour that belief. It's on us to personally reach out to people. If we don't personally reach out to people, they probably won't do things. Most people won't just get on a Zoom. They won't get on a call. They won't show up to an event, because they will let themselves down all the time. That's why only 5% go forward. Like, if they have the choice of, I can watch this movie or get on that call or go to that event, like, I'll go to the next event. They'll say no if they're just letting themselves down. But if you've reached out to them, you've had that personal conversation, they've made that commitment that they're going to get on or do something, they're going to be less likely to say no. They're going to be more likely to actually do it and follow through. So for us as leaders, we have that responsibility to our team to be reaching out to them so they feel this accountability, so they want to do this. They'll take these action steps that will help themselves, which is going to help your business. And if you don't do these things, these people are going to go away and your business is going to suffer for it.
All right. That leads us to no negativity.
Awesome. No negativity. Instead of being negative?
No, I'm saying that leads us to no negativity.
Gotcha. So as leaders, it is our job to be the bright spot in people's lives. And we don't need to be the negativity that's bringing them down, the Debbie Downer raining on their parade. And so, we need to not be negative about our own stuff, but we also need to not be negative about our people and our teams. And if you're negative about your team in front of your team, they're going to assume you complain about them when they're not around. So it creates that trust problem. And the other thing is, the people on our team, say we have a leader below us, they have a leader below them. Like, we always want to edify those layers of leadership. I don't want this person down here to feel bad about this leader here. I should not talk bad about this person here, because they need to think the highest possible of their upline. They may not be perfect, but we don't need to make them feel bad about that person. That still needs to be a person that they can see as somebody who's going to help them in this business, and try to just be as uplifting as possible. And that's the challenge, guys. Like, we're doing business, we're doing life. There's things that are going to be frustrating at times, but for us as leaders, we need to keep spreading that positivity.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Integrity. Oh, and that kind of dovetails into integrity. So as leaders, just always doing things the right way. And there's no shortcuts, never pay off. You know, cheating, lying, it always comes back to bite you. And if you want a team that's going to last, always do things the right way. Even if it's painful in the short run, you always want to make the right decision. Sometimes that comes with like placements. Like, maybe you want somebody in your team to go in a certain spot. It's going to help you hit your promotion and your goals, but maybe that's not going to be the right spot for that person, or maybe they belong with somebody else on your team. And so really, it's building the team the right way in the long run is always going to be the strongest, best thing for you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Okay. So next thing that we're going to talk about. So we just gave you guys tons of things that you guys need to know, need to do as leaders. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how to not diminish your leaders, how to not take away from your downline's leadership or their potential growth. Okay. This is something that I've watched happen, and it's crazy. Okay. So our goal as leaders is to be empowering our leaders, is to be duplicating our leaders, right? You don't want to just be the best person around you. You want to surround yourself with a team of people that get it, that know where they're going, right? I said it earlier, but everyone wins when a leader gets better, okay? So that means if you can be a leader factoring, developing machine, you guys are going presidential ambassador, like now, okay? Because if you can understand this concept and you never diminish a leader, obviously nobody's perfect, but these are some just things that I've seen, that I've watched happen. I've done it mistakenly and had to have been called out for it, things like that. So as a leader, you may be in multiple chats, okay? You may be in all of your personally enrolled downline chats with their people, okay? Allow them to lead, allow them to be the voice in there. Take a back seat to that chat. And I've said to my people, when you want me to hop in, tag me, okay? If you need backup on something, tag me. If you need me to go in and inspire something, or maybe you've said something to them like 4 or 5 times, they're not picking up on it and they need somebody else to say it, let me know, okay? But I take a back seat to those chats because I want the leaders to lead their team. The other thing that happens is when I push something out to you, you guys notice I don't go into all of your chats and push it out unless you ask me to, unless you're at work or you're driving somewhere and you're like, hey, can you push that out to my team? Let them do it. Give them the opportunity to. If they haven't, text them and remind them and say, hey guys, we have the team call tonight. Can you go ahead and push that out to your teams as a reminder? Don't just assume, don't just take over and lead for them. Okay. That is a huge, huge thing. All right. So do you want to jump in?
No, I was just going to say I would say no and then yes. So you want to be identifying those people in your downline that are leaders, that are going to get that information out to their team. You don't want to be the one doing that all the time, because that means you're going to have to do everything all the time. You're trying to identify those people are going to be those leaders. But if you don't have somebody who's going to get that communication out to the team, to reach out to the team, you need to be that person until you find it. Because your team is the one that's going to suffer if that's not happening.
Yep. For sure. Absolutely. That's a great thing to say. So another way that you guys can diminish people is if you're always the one presenting at events. And I know Nikki and I have said that a couple times here in Michigan of just, we need to start including you guys. We were like, all right, let's have Mackenzie do it this week, because when everybody else is just sitting there, you're not teaching them leadership. So remember, you might not be diminishing their leadership, but you're diminishing their growth. So think of ways that you can be including people into your presentations. And one thing that I've always done at any event, and I heard Matthew say it, is you have them say maybe a couple slides, then the next time they do half, then the next time you're there, but they do the whole thing. So you're not just like pushing them out of the nest. You're there if they fall, but they're going to get comfortable by doing it over and over and over again. All right. One other thing I want to say about that is This is one of my favorite things about leadership. If you give somebody a fish, they can eat for a day. If you teach them how to fish, they can feed themselves for a lifetime. Okay, so what does that mean? How does that apply? Stop answering everyone's questions. All right. Otherwise, you are going to create a culture where you're teaching your team every 5 seconds. They're coming to you with what's customer services number? Hey, what's the dosage of CBD? And all of these things that they should be figuring out the answer for. Now, I will say that I firmly believe that you spoon feed your new brand ambassadors, okay? They don't know where all this information is found. That's okay. They got to get comfortable with it. I mean, think about you when you first started. I mean, those of us that have been here since NDA phase, we're still trying to figure some of this stuff out too, right? But get really comfortable with saying, hey, that's a great question. Why don't you ask that on the team page and tag me in it if you don't get an answer, okay? So this does a couple of things. This actually does 3 things when you do that. 1, this creates a powerful resource for Ignite, okay? The team page, think about this in a year or 2, like you'll be able to hit the search bar and type in any word, and there'll be massive amounts of resources.
We are building a huge knowledge base.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. The second thing that does is other people can learn from your question. They might have the other question, and when they see it, they're like, oh, I'm so glad somebody asked. And they're going to learn from that answer. Okay. The third thing that this does is you guys, you're not always going to be around. Some of you work, some of you at our events, some of you are in the shower, some of you are working out, some of you are sleeping, right? You're not always around, and you need to teach your team the resources that we have in place for them to empower them to go figure this out for themselves. What this does is it supports them, and it also supports you so you don't burn out. Okay, so that is a huge, huge way that you can take your team's leadership away and take their growth away. The last thing that I'll say is when you don't ask for help, and this is something I'm guilty of. I had to learn this hard in my last business. I'm a type A personality. I'm the firstborn. I'm the kind of person that I'm like, if they're not going to do it how I want it, I'll just do it myself, right? That's not a good quality to have, just so you know. Okay, so you hurt your team's leadership by not asking for their help, even if you don't need it, right? I mean, as a mom, how many times do I ask my kids to do chores and I really don't want them to do it because I'm just gonna have to redo it anyways? But I ask them to do it because they need to participate in this family, right? So ask for their help. People want to feel included. They want to feel needed. And what I mean by that is if you're hosting an event, don't just provide all the snacks and all the water every time. Say, hey, who's bringing the water next week? Who's bringing the snacks? If it's a big event, who's bringing the balloons? Okay, get them all included and helping. They feel like they've got a job, they've got a place. I can't miss this. It also creates accountability too. Okay,
it helps them feel like they're filling a role and like they're contributing to the team.
Absolutely. All right, so I hope if you guys do have burning questions about anything that I'm talking about, either put it in the chat or write it down so we can talk about them after, because I want to make sure you guys don't have questions about anything that I'm talking about right now. Excuse me, let's move on to, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No.
Okay, let's move on to third-party validation. So as a team, this is something that we are getting really, really big and loud about. It was something that was huge at Director Summit that Matthew was talking about. It just creates massive amounts of momentum. We have a contest right now that if anybody puts their prospects in 10 third-party validations before tomorrow night, that they get a coaching call with Eileen, right? So you guys, that's there for a reason, because third-party validation closes people. Third-party validation brings numbers into your organization, builds momentum, builds your team. So let's talk a little bit about what that looks like, all right? So you need to coach your teams on how to edify you to start doing those third-party validations. Okay, so what I want all of you guys to do is type up some bullet points to give them. Okay, bullet points are my name. I'm Ashley. I have 3 kids. I'm married. I live in Grand Rapids. I'm a 1-star director in the company. I promoted 7 times in the first week. I've been in the industry. I'm a 6-figure earner. Okay, just some basic, I'm a nurse, just some basic things about you that they can say about you to edify you. Okay, so it's your job to coach your teams on how to edify you. Type up some bullet points. So we're going to start utilizing this more. And here's one thing, you guys, I'm at the very top of this, and I have 2 leaders that are at the very top. So all of you are either under Nikki or you're under Steph. Okay. Me, Nikki, and Steph can't do every single person's third-party call, third-party call in, third-party one-on-one, third-party chat, just because there's so many of us. This team is growing so fast. There's literally not enough hours in the day for us to do it. And we don't want to take away your leadership. We don't want to diminish you as leaders. So we want you guys to start doing it for your teams. We want you to be the one that they're like, oh my gosh, I want Carlotta to do my third-party validation today. I'm going to see if she's available. Okay. So you as the leader, your team sees you as that leader, and they want you when you create that connection with them and when you give them the resources to be able to do it. Okay. So here's how this works. So when somebody gets you on the call for a third-party call, if you're like, oh, I've never done a third-party call, what do I do? Okay. So if somebody asks you for that, what you need to do in a third-party call is you edify, you say, oh my gosh, Angela, it's so good to meet you. I'm so excited to connect with you. Oh, you're incredible. I already know that because Carlotta, she has been raving about you all day long. And she was telling me how incredible you would be at this business and how influential you are. And you're just such a caring person. And I cannot wait to get to know you. So I'm edifying the prospect because of what Carlotta said. Now I'm going to edify Carlotta. Okay. And I'm going to say to her prospect, because it might be her sister, who knows all of these things about her. And I'm going to talk about Carlotta then and do that. Same thing in a three-way chat. If you call into a event, you're going to edify. We talked about that in the Monday night call. Now, if you're calling into to close out an event, for those of you that were in Grand Rapids, Matthew did this for us last night, okay? So he edified the leaders in the room. He edified me and Nikki. He talked about how awesome we were, right? It's silly and funny. Then he shared his story, all right, a little bit about him to give himself credibility. And then he closed it out by asking for a decision. All right, you guys, you have a decision to make right now. Are you in love with these products and you want to get started as a VIP customer? It's amazing. Or are you going to get started as a brand ambassador? All right. I want you guys getting off of here and getting back to the person that invited you. So you as a leader of that third-party call, chat, whatever, is to close the person out, because the person that's getting you in that third-party chat, they might not know how to do that, but they also might not have the confidence to be able to make the ask. Us as leaders, we do. Okay. So that is the goal of every third-party conversation, is you edify and close, edify, close, edify, close. And if you guys need like more coaching on that, please reach out to me and we can do like just some one-on-one stuff. Is there something you wanted to say?
Edify, share your story, close.
Well, yeah, edify, share your story, close. Okay. All right, last thing about that, and then we're going to get into layered leadership. So part of your job as a leader is to help people close their potentials. Okay, don't leave it up to chance. Don't leave it up to them. Don't leave it up to them maybe following up with them, because maybe they won't. That could be your next rock star. You take ownership over them. If you did a three-way call, if they are in a Facebook chat, you add them as a friend on Facebook. You reach out to them. This is something I love to do. If I do a three-way call with somebody, I automatically get off of that and I send them a Facebook friend request. I want them to see me. One, that what that does is they're going to go stalk me, right? They're going to see this company is real. They're going to see that everything that their person said about me was true. But then the next day I'm going to reach out to them and I'm going to say, hey, I just wanted to follow up with you. Did you have any questions? I'm so excited. I just think you would be awesome at this, right? And that way it's prompting them to be like, oh, she remembers me, So you as a leader, don't leave it on your person to make the close, to follow up, to get them in. That could be your next rock star if you just let that go. All right. Okay. Last thing we're going to talk about tonight is basic layered leadership principles. All right. And this is something we're going to dig into big time. So be a bubble, not a sponge. And what I mean by that is, as your team is coming to you and as your prospects are saying no and somebody hurts your feelings and there's all of this stuff going on, right? You want to be a bubble that just bounces, or not a bubble, a bouncy ball, okay? You want the stuff to just bounce off of you. As a sponge, you like hold everything in and you're like, oh, that hurt my feelings. They don't want to do this. Or, oh, that negativity from somebody on my team and now it's going to ruin my day and there's drama over here or this or that's going on. Okay?
You're going to make $100,000 a year. You don't have time for that.
No, you don't. You need to be a bouncing ball. Okay. So just let it bounce off of you. Protect your space. It's not coming in here, all right? It's just going to bounce back out, back to them. Hopefully not back to them. Hopefully they can work through it. But that's number one. Now, the next thing I want to teach you guys is monkey see, monkey do. All right? When you see your upline or your leader doing something, the best thing that you can do is duplicate it. Okay? If you see somebody giving recognition, go, oh, I need to give somebody a shout out. I need to do some recognition. If you see your upline putting something in the team chat, Danny Brett's perfect example of this morning. I put something out to my personally enrolled of just a conversation that I was having with somebody about being consistent, and I screenshotted my conversation. Well, then she put it in her chat and she's like, hey guys, I just wanted to share this with you guys as my team. This came from Ashley. Isn't this awesome? This is all about being consistent in your business, blah, blah, blah. It was the perfect example of monkey see, monkey do. That is layered leadership. And then guess what? Then they take that and they push it out to their people. That is where things start duplicating out and layering. All right. I'm going to pass it over to Mike because you haven't talked in a while. Let's talk about personal communication.
I feel like we kind of covered that earlier. Was there more you want to say about it?
Well, yeah, no, we didn't talk about how just important it is that you guys, all of you on here should have gotten a personal text message from me or your upline to be invited to this. Did you guys see that? It wasn't a group text. It wasn't a group message. It was a personal invitation to be on here. And look, you're all on here. Mm-hmm. All right. That's key. If you want to remind somebody of something, don't just put it in your team page or your team chat. Make sure you personally reach out to somebody and remind them, because people are busy and they've got things going on and they forget, right? If you want to create that accountability, personal communication is huge.
Yeah, we'll come back and say almost nothing happens in this business without personal one-on-one communication. We see people have events at their house and they create like a group and they just invite 50 people to it and mm-hmm. expect people to show up, and nobody shows up. Like, if you don't personally have that conversation with your prospects, they're not going to show up. People in this business are not likely to do the things they need to do to grow this business if you're not personally communicating about them. If you're not personally communicating to them about what events are this week and are they going to be able to get to them, they're probably not going to do it. And that's what we're talking about, is building this layered leadership in our team. It's us reaching out to 5 or 10 people who then go and share the message with 5 to 10 people, and so on. So everybody on the team is getting personally communicated with one-on-one. And like we talked about earlier, it creates that personal accountability. If we didn't talk to you or send you a message privately about being on this, you don't have any, personal accountability to be on here. We didn't talk to you one-on-one about it. And so it's like, oh, hey, there's a thing tonight. Nobody talking about it. Doesn't matter if I'm on or not. I never told anybody I was going to be. So really, it creates that personal accountability, and our team needs that. Our people need that. As I said earlier, we owe it to them as their leaders to create that accountability so they can help grow towards those goals that they have in this business. And sometimes we might feel like we're bugging people or we're pushing people, but we're not. We're helping them by doing that.
All right. So let's talk about the 5 levels of leadership.
5 levels? We're going to talk about layered leadership, or what is this?
No, that's me after you.
Oh, okay. Got it. So there are 2 books that we always say to start off with in leadership. And we've talked very much about Bob Goshen's Layered Leadership. And the other one that is a great starter book is John Maxwell's 5 Levels of Leadership. And so he breaks it down into 5 basic levels of leadership. Where are my notes? So the first level is position. And that's where you are seen as a leader because of your position. So
your rank.
Your rank. Maybe you're the manager at work, at wherever you work. Like, you're a leader because that position. And it's not because of anything you've done, any relationships. It's just because of your title. And so what is really cool about this right now, hey, all of you guys on here, mm-hmm. you're leaders. And so you're already next level. But everybody that has joined Emerus right now, everybody's got in ground floor. Those people who haven't signed anybody up yet, they are in a position of leadership because they got in here at the beginning. And that is what's cool. Everybody has that position of leadership right from the start. Mm-hmm. They get to say, I got in here in this place that is going places. And so the second level of leadership is establishing that relationship. And he calls it the permission level. And that's where you establish that relationship with your people and they give you permission to lead. They want to follow you because you connect with them, because you show that you care about them. The third level is production. And that is where you lead by setting the example. This is where in our business you start growing and promoting, and people see you having success. So 1, you have the title. 2, you've connected with them. 3, you're leading by example. You're growing a business. And this is where we lead into momentum. We'll talk about this real quick. And this is where you hit momentum when you start growing a team. And momentum solves all problems. Well, not all problems, like 80% of problems. And so a lot of times people will complain or they'll be down or sad about something. And the answer to those problems is to create new excitement. Us as leaders, we need to continue to bring new people ourselves, personally enroll new people in our business, and help our team bring new people into this business, because that is going to create the new excitement coming, and it grows exponentially. And so John uses the example of a train on the track. If you have a train going full speed on the track and you have a brick wall in its way, it's going to plow right through it. But a train that's at a complete rest, you set a little brick in front of it, it can't move. And so momentum is the most important thing. And it's good that we show that we care about our teammates, that we listen to them. But the biggest thing we need to do is not let ourselves get slowed down. Guys, we're making $100,000 a year. We cannot get slowed down. We have to keep momentum. And so it's continuing to bring in new, keep that excitement, keep that production going. The 4th level is people development. And so the most important piece in this business, and we've talked about some important things. It's definitely belief, but then also your team, and it's duplicating leadership. So it's growing as a leader yourself, but then duplicating what you do, teaching other people to be leaders and helping them teach other people to be leaders. And that's really the lid on your organization, is the number of leaders you can help produce. Like, it is the most important thing. And then his 5th level is the pinnacle. It's where you've now gotten to the top. People all respect what you've done. You created a great organization. You have influence. They've seen that you operate with integrity. You've taught many, many other people to be leaders. And that's like the level that we're all striving for, right? Like, we're working up through these levels of leadership. And an important thing to remember is that you're on a different level of leadership with every single person in your business. Somebody joined you today. They don't know all those other things. They haven't seen your production. They haven't seen you duplicate leaders. You might just be a positional title leadership. So you're going to be at different levels with different people. And so it's just understanding where you're at with them as you're growing in this business with them. Do you have anything to add in there?
No, okay. I'm going to move on though. Okay.
That's a tough one.
Oh, go ahead.
It kind of touches on something you said earlier. And so for us, when we joined this business, and we'll just say, or this industry, like we said, we knew like 200 people probably in the world, right? And we knew that if 5 people joined us, that if they each knew 200, that's a pool of 1,000 people, or 1,200 if you include our two. But so our little pond was 200, and we could spend all of our time fishing in our little pond of prospects of 200 people, or we could spend a lot of our time fishing in this pond of 1,000 prospects. And so that's us either getting in 3-way calls and helping get in front of this pool of prospects people, or helping these people grow to be leaders. So we're now fishing in the bigger pond and growing that pond. And so a lot of times as go-getters, as leaders, people who are on this call, you tend to be the people who just go get it and do it yourself. And a lot of times we have a tendency to just focus on our own people and our own business and say, hey, those people are going to do what I'm going to do, right? And just leave them to do that themselves. You want to be focusing on the bigger picture, on the big pond where there's more prospects. And the more you're able to grow your team and focus on your team, the more success you're going to have.
Yeah, the cool thing about third-party validation, you guys, it's you enrolling through other people's people. I truly believe that. I've never been a mass enroller ever in my business. The biggest month I've ever had is the first month with this company, because we've been building for a couple months. But I've always had a team that stays, that doesn't leave. And it's because of all of these things that we're teaching you guys. But the biggest thing that Aspen taught me is you enroll through other people's people. You get in front of those people, you follow up with them, all of those same principles that we're talking about. And that analogy of fishing in the bigger pond is really that. Did you?
So we're going to talk about getting people off to a good start.
No. What is that? Well, you can talk about that. Okay. Oh yeah, the quantity versus quality. Yeah, sorry guys.
Got it. So in this, as leaders, it is our job and our best interest to get people off to an amazing start and get them started right away. If you don't get them started in the first couple of days, they're like, let's do it next week. And next week turns into next month. And so it's our job to get people started right away, get them off to a successful start. But it's more important that we sign a few people and help them get off to an awesome start than sign up a ton of people. And we're so busy for signing up so many people, we don't launch any of them. So if we sign up 6 people and we help all of them get going right away, and they all bring in 3 people this month, you have a team of 18 excited, growing people. If we signed up 20 this month, 19 we're going to quit, so only 5% stick with this. One's going to do it. They'll sign 3 people. So we'll have 4. So we could sign up 20 people and end up with only 4 excited, growing people, or we could sign up only 6 and help them all get up to awesome starts, have a much healthier, faster growing team. And for us, you'll never see us consistently trying to bring in 20 or 30 people because we know we have a responsibility to these people. We just can't meet it if we do that. So it's just so much more important to get people off to a good start than to sign a million people.
All right. So one last thing that we're going to talk about before we end this, you guys, is, okay, so we've talked about the 7 layers, the 5 levels of leadership and what that looks like. All right. So one thing I kind of want to just break down is, what does layered leadership look like? Like, what does that look like on a daily basis? Okay. So the first thing is modeling the behavior, being loud about what you're doing. Show people how you're working, which is what I was talking about, posting in the team page or tips. You're showing people that proof of, hey, this is what I'm doing. You're modeling it for them. And then be the example by leading from the front, right? That's that model. Okay. So modeling is layered leadership. Inspiring people is layered leadership. So inspiring them with that shared vision, that bigger belief, you're pouring that belief into them, telling them where they're going, but also the bigger belief and the bigger vision of this company. So they feel like they know what they're here for. They know what they've bought into. So you're modeling it, you're inspiring them by vision and belief. Okay, the next thing is growing. It's challenging yourself, you guys. Search for ways to grow. And search for ways to bring your team with you on that. Challenge them to get into personal development. Okay. Again, everybody wins when a leader gets better. So you're growing. The next thing is enabling them, empowering them to act. A big part of that is fostering collaborations. I don't know if you guys have noticed, I love that word. It's one of my favorite words, is collaborating, because I know that sometimes some of the best things that I've learned in this life haven't came from a mentor, haven't came from an upline. It's been from a downline. It's been from sidelines. It's been from those relationships. And if you don't foster that community within your own groups and dig into our group, okay, if you live in a different state, find people that are here in Michigan, find people in Nebraska, find people in Florida, find people in Georgia. You guys are all going to be able to communicate, collaborate, right? Create instead of compete against each other. And that is huge. All right. And then the last thing is, not the last thing. So modeling, inspiring belief, challenging yourself to grow, enabling to act. And the last thing is encourage their heart. Every day, layered leadership is recognizing people, celebrating wins, encouraging the losses, okay? But being there for people, caring enough about them, right? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, okay? So that to me is real layered leadership. That's what it looks like. That's what it acts like. That's what it talks like, okay? And then the last thing that I want to leave you guys with is just, I saw this today and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to share this on here. And this is going to be a check-in moment for you. Okay. I saw this and it said the 7 C's to build a winning team. You have to be, not they have to be, you have to be coachable. You have to have good character, communication with your team constantly, commitment, contagious energy, caring, and consistent. So I want you guys, when you get off of here, to just kind of check yourself for a minute and figure out the area that maybe you're lacking in, the area or two where you're like, that's the area that I need to grow in. That's the one right there that's going to take me to that next level of leadership. Because if I can get my hands on that, this team's going to win. I'm going to be a better leader. Everybody wins when a leader gets better. So,
this tied into something I thought of while we were speaking that I didn't think of as such a huge important piece, and it goes back to integrity also. And so we're talking about commitment, caring, consistency. And here is one of the most important things as a leader is that you do what you say you're going to do. One of the fastest, strongest, most powerful way to discourage your team is to not follow through on doing something that you say you're going to do. So if you say you're going to have a Zoom and you cancel it, you're going to crush your team's souls. If you were having an event at your house and like all these people, like you actually got them motivated to show up and then you cancel it, you're probably going to have a lot more trouble getting them to the next one. So you lose your team, they stop trusting you. And just one of the most important things that a leader can do is always do what they say they're going to.
Those 7 C's real quick again are coachable, character, communication, commitment, contagious energy, caring, and consistency. All right. Do you want to leave them with some fun, bright stuff?
I don't have much fun, bright stuff left. Okay, we talked about that a little bit earlier. So some things just to reinforce, and guys, like I said, we have so many exciting things going on. Like if we can appreciate even the no's and understand how that's getting us to where we're going, like we live in the most abundant time in the history of the world. There is so much good and so much out there. And if we focus on the good, we share that, we're excited about that, nothing can stop any of us from getting to our goals. And along the way, so that means, celebrating every single win that we can find with our team, taking every opportunity to edify and uplift others. One of the things that I love to do is I think it's important to get into the reports and check it every morning. See if people join your team. If there's new teammates, reach out to the new people, welcome them, say, hey, thank you, welcome to the team. I can't wait to meet you. Reaching up to the person that enrolled them, be like, I'm so excited. You got another teammate. That's awesome. And just pouring into your team, continually to be excited, continuing to share wins, continuing to show that you care as much as you can. And so at the end of the day, for this business, the truth is, as long as people are having fun, that this is the bright spot in their life and they're not going in debt to do this, they don't ever have a reason to leave. Why would you leave if you're having fun? This is your happy place and you're not going broke. Like as long as you keep being that positive thing in people's lives, they're going to stay in this with us.
Amen, right? Who wants to have fun while we're making money? I love it. Okay, so just to close this out, you guys, we're going to start doing this once a month. I'm going to get with Nikki and Steph, and we'll come up with kind of a consistent schedule. And every week or every month, it'll be a personal invite, because as this grows, we'll bring more people into leadership. I firmly believe instead of making it more exclusive, we make it more inclusive to include other people. That doesn't mean that when all of you guys go director, we might not have a director's call as well, because there's different levels and conversations that happen at those levels. But just know that we're going to start doing this consistently, and the next Zoom that we do, the topic is going to be what you guys need to do as sponsors when you enroll somebody. Okay, that conversation. And then the next thing I want to tell you, will you run over there and grab the Layered Leadership book real quick? So I'm going to start a book club in September. Okay, our whole teams can have access to this, but we're going to dig into the book, The Power of Layered Leadership. Okay, this book changed my life. I've read it multiple times. Do you see it? It might be under the blanket. Sorry, or not. That's okay. I must have ran it downstairs or something. That's weird. I was using it to take notes. Anyways, okay, so it's called The Power of Layered Leadership by Bob Goshen. All right. If you don't have a copy of this, it's a little hard to find. It's out of print, actually. So you can find it on Amazon. It might be a little bit more expensive. You can go to his website and you can buy the audio, and he won't email it to you. So then you'll email their support and say, I didn't get it. And he'll send you a copy of the book. It's awesome. All right. I have 3 copies. I promised one to somebody already, and I'm going to run a contest for the other 2 that I will mail to you guys. But this is something that if you guys want to be a part of and your teams want to be a part of, it'll probably be like a Zoom on a Saturday morning where every Saturday at a certain time we'll unpack that chapter. But you can't find the book. It looks like this, okay? Power of Layered Leadership by Bob Goshen. And it does come in CD form. Look at that, CD. This is back in the day. I mean, this is like gold kind of stuff. So anyways, guys, we've kept you for an hour. I'm so proud of you. Oh, last thing that we have to do is take a picture, all right? So I'm going to change this over. So all of you guys, if you want that social proof to add to your story of being on a leadership call, you totally can, but I'll give you guys all the opportunity to smile. Okay, ready, go. All right.
So
Woo-hoo.
I want to say I'm really incredibly proud of how many people are still on here. We know that was a long call. Honestly, this leadership stuff was way overdue. So we had a lot of stuff that we needed to get out there. But this Zoom, there's a lot of good information. Maybe it might not all make sense. There's a lot to review there. So I'm saying I would encourage you guys, as you're trying to lead your team and trying to figure out what to do, to go back over this Zoom, because there's a lot of important stuff that was in there.
And props to everyone who has their video on, because I love seeing your faces. Yes. Hi, Holly. Hi, Sam. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Cindy, James, Paige, Kiana. Hello. Hi, Joyce. Casey, you just turned yours on. Hi, Danielle. Hey, Jenny. Hello, hello. All right. I think I got everyone. Page 2, nobody has theirs on. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, so we can end, you guys. Like I said, if you guys have a couple questions, you can throw them in the chat. I'm going to stop the recording right now.